Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you will not regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back. I appreciate the support. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see my email address. If you guys want to drop me a line, or you got a video idea that would make for a good viewing experience for myself and my subscribers, by all means, drop me a line. Like I said, I appreciate the support. Guys, I want to get into something today that's very, very serious. And it's the shooting of Alonzo Bagley out of Louisiana. Now, a lot of people are talking about this story because it's very shocking and it has a sad narrative too. And I'm going to talk a little bit today about what a lot of people are not talking about. And it's basically the domestic relationships us as black folk have with each other. And you know, all of this could have been avoided. You know, I talk a lot on my channel, guys, about mindset. You know, your mindset is everything. You know, how you think determines a lot of times of what you get in life and what life gives you. And this is a perfect example of something that goes on every day around, not the shooting part, but something that goes on every day in the black community, you know, that affects us in one way or another. Now, I'm going to show you this video from the news clipping, but I want to tell you something real quick. I have the whole video, and if you go in my description box, you'll see the whole body cam video from beginning to end, and I want you to really go over this video, guys, and you tell me who you think was right, who you think was wrong, how this could have been avoided, or if this could have been avoided at all. Now, I'm going to go to this clip. You guys check it out, and now come back with my perspective on it.
Officer was arrested and charged with negligent homicide and the shooting death of Alonzo Bagley. The officer was arrested after a review of body camera video implicated possible wrongdoing. WDSU reporter Ariel Brumfield joins us now with a look at the video. Ariel.
Well, that 23-year-old officer who was arrested is Alexander Tyler, and it's also important to note this is a very hard video to watch, and we will not be showing the fatal moments because it is disturbing. Now, according to state police, officers were sent to an apartment complex earlier this month for a domestic disturbance when 43-year-old Bagley ran, jumped from a balcony, and attempted to run away. After a brief chase, state police say body camera video shows Officer Tyler shot Bagley in the chest. Bagley was unarmed at the time. Despite other officers attempting to keep him conscious, Bagley was pronounced dead at a hospital. The family of Alonzo Bagley says the video is too hard to watch. They want action behind the charges and will not be satisfied until a verdict is given.
Again, why do I see a gun in the police's hand? It was a small chase. He stops. He stopped. Turn. Boom. Shot. My brother hands was up. Shot. Again, it's still confusing, as in I'm looking at Alexander Tyler like, dude, why is your gun drawn?
And Officer Tyler's bail is set at $25,000 and his arraignment is April 3rd. Reporting from the newsroom, I'm Ariel Brumfield, WDSU News.
Ariel, thank you.
Well, guys, that's the news article. And shout out to WDSU News for putting the story out. Guys, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. This whole scenario is off. It is wrong in so many levels. It's a lot of wrong in it. And I'm telling you, in my video, in the description box below, like I said, I want you to go look at that video first, because I had a full video of the encounter with Mr. Bagley, and then come back, because what I'm about to say is a bit of a spoiler alert if you don't want to watch it, because guys, honestly, the video is very hard to watch. But I'm just going to run through this. First thing is this: there are 3 separate parts of this video that I watched multiple times that I want to break down to you. And first scene is the 911 call, right? In the 911 call, the wife is the one that made the call, and she's key to this whole mess. She made a 911 call. She basically said her husband came home, used her van, came home, was drunk, was threatening her and her daughter, and he was in the room, you know, just raging or whatever, just in the room. Out of that 911 call, this is what I got from it. She seemed like she was not in distress. So this is something that happens all the time. Like I said, domestic disturbance between two people. He's in the room cussing. She said, you know, hey, he's in the room cussing. And the third thing that honestly I didn't like, and this is something people don't think about. She said, they asked, did he have any drugs or guns or weapons? She was like, I don't know what he's on, and I don't know if he got any weapons or not. That's your husband, man. That man live in your house or not. Basically, are there any weapons in the house he could use against us if we come out there to clarify the situation or try to fix the situation? She said, what? I don't know. Second thing is this. The way she answered the questions and all that stuff, it set it up like the police were going where? Into a what? Violent encounter. Possibly a violent encounter. Now, that's the 911 call. She wasn't in distress. The little girl, the daughter that was there wasn't in distress, because if you listen to the 911 call, you can hear the daughter saying, hey, I guess playing with the dogs or whatever. It was not a high tension situation like they were saying it was, like she was saying it was. So the police came. There were two police officers that showed up on scene. So that right there lets me know, you know, either they came there multiple times, knew about the situation, or from her call, because you know these 911 operators know how many units to send and all that stuff. It was only a two-man unit that showed up at the door. Another thing is, when they showed up at the place, and they looked like they was in the projects, like they was in the hood. When they showed up, going up them steps, it was dark as hell. And I was like, damn, that's like a creepy setup type of situation. But as they got to the door, they knocked on the door. You could hear them in there going at it, back and forth. Once she opened the door, like before he even opened the door, somebody was knocking at the door, nobody was answering. You hear the wife, hey, man, just go ahead and over there and answer the door. Man, go ahead and answer the door. She knew the police was coming and never told him. So it was like he was set up. And just feel me out in this whole thing before you make a judgment call and leave me a comment. Just feel me out in this whole thing. That brings us to what? The encounter scene after the police knocked on the door. The police knock on the door. What happened? Like I said, she screams for him to answer the door. He opens the door. The guy did not know the police was coming. And you could see he was already drunk. The dude had the damn, like, what is that called? A fifth? I don't drink. So the fifth of whiskey in his hand when he came to the door. You see his eyes, the surprise that he knew the police was coming. He didn't even know he was coming. He opened the door. He still had the liquor in his hand. They asked him, hey, can we come in? He said no, right? I got to put my dogs up. Now, in the middle of him talking, what did the wife do? Come on in. Invited them in. Now the police can come in because you invited them in. They walk right in. He back up. I got to put my dogs up. They tell him to sit down. He didn't listen. He started walking in the back. I got to put my dogs up, you know, going to the back room. But I want you to pay attention. What happened as soon as the police came in and she saw it was the police? She immediately turned up on him. Started telling on him. Started saying all of this stuff. Yeah, he disturbing the peace. He got weed back there when he was walking. She constantly talking. He messing with the woman next door. Guys, I want you to understand something. And I'm being dead honest with you. A lot of times the narrative that get painted against people when the cops are called on them, it has a big impact on how they treat you. You understand what I'm saying? He come in there, she started telling stuff that ain't have nothing to do with the domestic disturbance. Now, he was drunk, but he still should have listened and sat his ass down. Because a lot of times in these domestic encounters, and I've seen them, you know what I'm saying? When cops come, they ain't trying to do paperwork and arrest nobody. They just want to make sure ain't nobody going to hurt themselves or tear up no shit. If he had sat down, in his defense, if he had sat down, They probably would have seen it wasn't really nothing going on and left out the damn house. But him going in the back room, when we went in the back room, you hear the wife, there you go, he right there. He went in that room, he locked the door. As they was walking back to that room, what you see? Punch marks all on the door. You see that a lot in the hood too. Because guys know they can't hit the girl because the girl might call the cops on them and all this other stuff with their frustrations. So what they do, punch the wall or punch the door. You see that a lot. That's normal, typical, goofy stuff. They go in the room. He take a deep dive right off the balcony. He didn't even jump. He just threw himself off the balcony. That was epic right there. I'm like, oh my God, I ain't never seen nobody do that. He just threw himself off. That's how I knew he was drunk. And got up and ran from the second floor. But anyway, as he ran, the police, they were telling him to stop. But as he ran, he jumped out the window and ran. They were running back. When the cop turned around and ran back through the room, who was right there? The wife. As he cop walking back there, she right behind him, just telling it. He come out, go downstairs, they run it. They following him. Now it's dark out there. You know what I'm saying? The cop that was in front, what's his name? Officer Alexander Tyler. Running. It's a little cut part into an entrance into another building where they running into. Mr. Bagley was there. I guess he was hiding up against the wall. He made a sudden move. The cop was running, caught him out the corner of the eye, turned and fired. Now, this cop is supposedly locked up right now for negligent homicide. And just looking at the shooting encounter, you could see the cop was remorseful. He didn't mean the shooting. And he was bothered by it. The guy was emotionally bothered by it because and he was stuck. He didn't know what to do. The other cop, I got to give him credit. He took control of the situation. He told the other cop, relax. He started administering CPR. In the video, now I'm going to get back to that in a second. In the video that I just showed you, the news clipping, the family of the victim, Mr. Bagley, were the ones being interviewed. They said, it was all the wrongdoing on the police and all this other stuff. But this is the thing that makes me mad sometimes about us as black folk. We see what we want to see. Now, you can sit up there and you can say, yeah, his hands was up. His hands was up after he was shot. He got shot. He said, oh, Lord, you shot me. He was about to run and double back because he thought only one officer was chasing him. So when the family member got on the thing, brother, I understand that you lost somebody and I'm sorry about that, but you need to be honest about the situation. You saying it like the cops just came up in there, came in the hood, just brutalized your brother. It wasn't like that. Another thing is, it was cause for them to chase him. Oh, it was a short chase. It don't matter what kind of chase it was. It was a chase. He didn't follow directions, didn't comply, could have killed himself jumping off that thing. Obviously, he had a drinking problem because he was drunk. And nobody is saying anything about the wife. And that's the thing. Nobody's saying anything about the wife, man. All of this, ma'am, could have been avoided if you had called. And I guarantee you, all of a sudden, it's the police fault that he's dead, but they wouldn't have never came if you hadn't have called them. And you really wasn't in no peril. And that's the bottom line, man. This happens a lot. I had somebody living above me when I was in another apartment. And the girl used to have different boyfriends all the time, and it was always fighting. And then one night I'm laying in the bed, man, and it was just really bad. I hear her screaming for her life. I'm like, I can't sleep through that. And I'm like, yo, what if she kill her? What, I try to stay out of it. You know what I'm saying? So somebody calls the police next door. The police come. And when they came, it was a lot of them. They went upstairs and opened the door. The dude answers the door. They bring the guy outside. They bring her to the door and start talking. She act like nothing ever happened. This goes on all the time. And then she got mad and cussed out the person that called the cops downstairs to make sure she was okay. That's why a lot of people tell you when people go crazy and lovers quarrels and all that, don't get involved. But I'm telling you, man, all of this came from the wife. And I guarantee you she'll sit back and play the sympathy role. Oh, the cops. Oh, they did it. Ma'am, you called them. And then you shit on your husband when they came and just start telling them he got weed back there and all. It's like, and then it's like, I don't know if people do this, you know, I think she called the cops to prove a point to him that she would call the cops. And I'm just being honest. Because it seemed like after that situation happened, where he took off, it was like they couldn't wait to see what was going to happen next. A whole bunch of screaming, a whole bunch of hollering. I seen video after video, guys, of people calling the cops, mothers calling the cops on their kids, because the kids got mental illness and all this other stuff. And they tell the cops, don't kill them, but the person's going crazy and chasing them after them with a knife and stuff. A cop got to do what he got to do to ensure that he go home too. And another thing is, you can't call the police. And this is big, hear me. You cannot call the police and expect the police to police the way you want them to police. Because if that's the case, you should never call them. You could handle it yourself. And that's another big thing. We call the police. You can't call the cops and then tell them what to do with somebody you know that they don't. Go figure. All in all, man, you know, Alonzo Bagley, man, it's an unfortunate situation that this happened to him. And I think it could have been avoided. The family is upset, and rightfully so, but you got to be honest about the situation. He was in a bad spot from the beginning. And supposedly, this man, Alonzo Bagley, had a situation, you know, with the police in that area a while ago where he was abused, where they handcuffed him, supposedly broke his jaw and all that stuff. That might have been another reason why he ran. Now, this is his wife. I'm sure she knows about that. Why'd you call the police anyway when you knew he had a phobia and he was going to run? Leave me a comment, guys. This is a sad thing all the way around. Now, from this negligent phone call, when you know you wasn't really threatened or anything like that, and you just wanted to prove a point to him, thus making your problems somebody else's problems, you got an officer that's remorseful and in jail. Right, probably out of jail, but he's facing charges and your husband's dead. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm Stock Market Steve. I'll see you guys in the next video.